We have some breaking NHL news to discuss here today, including Vegas Golden Knights forward Valentin Zykov, who's been suspended by the NHL for 20 games, plus Maple Leafs captain John Tavares is injured and will be out of the lineup for a few weeks at least. We'll discuss all the latest news coming up next. So welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have some breaking news from the NHL. Vegas Golden Knights forward Valentin Zykov has been suspended by the NHL for 20 games for violating his performance-enhancing drug policy. Now, at this point in time, based on the information released, we don't really know exactly what the drug was. That quite often is not really released, but we do have some statements from the league, the team, and the player to quickly review the situation. Now, let's first get started with the statement here from the NHL. The NHL says Vegas Golden Knights forward Valentin Zykov has been suspended for 20 games without pay for violating the terms of the NHL and NHLPA Performance Enhancing Substances Program. Under the terms of the collective bargaining agreement, the suspension is accompanied by mandatory referral to the NHL-NHLPA Program for Substance Abuse and Behavioral Health for evaluation and possible treatment. The National Hockey League will have no further comment on this matter. That later was followed by a statement here from the team and from the player. Let's get started here from the statement from the Golden Knights first. Golden Knights issued the following statement today, October 17th, regarding the suspension of Valentin Zykov. We were notified by the NHL and the NHLPA that Valentin has violated the terms of the NHL-NHLPA Performance Enhancing Substance Abuse Program. We monitor the nutrition, supplement intake, and overall diet of our athletes on a continual basis throughout the entire season. Valentin knowingly used a banned substance without the consent, recommendation, or knowledge of our team. We support the NHL and NHLPA Performance Enhancing Substance Program and respect the decision here. That was later followed by a statement from the player himself. Let's take a look at what he had to say. Zykov says, I've been informed that I'm being suspended for 20 games under the NHL-NHLPA Performance Enhancing Substance Program. While I haven't been able to discover how I tested positive, I understand that I am responsible for what is in my body and will accept this penalty. I want to apologize to my family, my teammates, and the Golden Knights organization and fans. I will work hard during my suspension to ensure that I put myself in the best possible position to contribute to my team when my suspension is over. So obviously this comes as a bit of a surprise. It's not something we see very often. Of course, the Golden Knights dealt with a similar situation with defenseman Nate Schmidt last year. So that's another situation for the Golden Knights with a similar type of thing. Of course, in Schmidt's case, he was a little bit more adamant that he didn't do anything wrong and certainly fought the process a little bit. Whereas in this case, the language from the Golden Knights indicates that Zykov knowingly used a banned substance. If you take a look at how they worded their statement, it certainly just looks as though that this was a little bit a different situation. Even though he says he's not quite sure exactly how he tested positive, they're saying that he knowingly used a banned substance. So obviously that could create issues between him and the team moving forward. It's really hard to say. Obviously, he'll have to go through the program, see if further testing or treatment is required. We've seen some other NHL players go through this type of situation and certainly have, require some help with the program. So I guess we'll see how this goes. But Zykov will be out of action for Vegas for 20 games, and we'll see if any other information comes from this. But certainly a different situation than we've seen with many of these other cases here in the past. Now, it's also announced here today that Toronto Maple Leaf captain John Tavares is going to be out of action for a minimum of 2 weeks, most likely 3 to 4, be my opinion. He has suffered a broken finger in last night's game versus the Washington Capitals. Now, apparently what the play that it happened on was Tavares took a shot that hit him in the hand from defenseman Morgan Rielly. He didn't immediately leave the game. He did score a goal later into the third period to make things interesting. The Leafs ultimately dropped that contest 4-3, but it was 4-2 at one point. Tavares scored late to make it interesting. The Leafs pulled the goalie, tried to get it tied up, but unfortunately were not able to. So he did end up scoring a goal with that broken finger, but obviously it's something they want to get looked after, not something he needs to really play through at this time of the season. So a minimum 2 weeks, he'll be reevaluated after that and see what happens. So that's certainly going to be a big blow for the Maple Leafs. 5-on-5, especially between him and Marner, the chemistry hasn't been quite there like it was last year. So they're trying to get those guys going. From a point production standpoint, they've been doing okay. Certainly not bad at all, but they're just not seem to have that chemistry like the magic that they were able to put on the ice last year. So this is going to create a little bit more of an opportunity for more of their depth forwards to maybe get in the lineup more often, maybe play a bigger role. Probably guys like Jason Spezza or Nick Petan. Hard to say exactly how they're going to rejuggle their lines here. Obviously, the possibility of maybe William Nylander playing center ice. He's done that on occasion before when needed. So we'll see how the Maple Leafs make some adjustments here, but certainly going to be a big blow having their captain out of the lineup for a minimum 2 weeks. Like I said, it could end up being 3 to 4, depending on how the healing process and everything goes for Tavares. So let us all your latest news for today. Of course, want to know your thoughts, your opinions on the Zykov suspension and the Tavares injury. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and we'll continue the conversation. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notifications so you don't miss any future videos, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.